Up, WMBD News at 4 starts now.
Today on the show, the new details surrounding the body of a woman found back in December, why it's now being investigated as a homicide.
President Trump's latest budget is facing some tough questions from lawmakers on Capitol Hill. I'm Mark Meredith in Washington. We'll dig deeper coming up.
And former Congressman Aaron Schock joins the show. Hear his thoughts on charges dropped against him and his plans for the future. And thanks for watching. I'm Eugene Daniel. We now know more about the death of a woman in December. If you recall, Anita Thomas was found dead in a ditch along Route 6 December of last year. And today, the Peoria County coroner, Jamie Harwood, ruled Thomas's death as a homicide. He says there were no immediate signs of trauma when they found the body, but after an autopsy, he found that she suffered strangulation from another person.
Our initial exam, and I want to make this clear, a lot of times when someone endures a strangulation, there's not physical signs on the outside. So on our initial impression, we didn't know if any trauma had been sustained to her just based on our visual assessment of her where she was that morning. It wasn't until that we came back and did our internal exam on autopsy that we found significant signs that she had been strangled.
Illinois State Police say it's still an ongoing investigation, and we'll continue to follow this and update you as the story unfolds. Well, tonight, the White House is defending its 2020 budget proposals before Congress. The budget released on Monday calls for sharp cuts to domestic programs and major increases in defense spending. Our D.C. correspondent Mark Meredith is in Washington with that story.
House Democrats grilled President Trump's acting budget director over plans to cut spending on domestic programs while spending more on defense and border security.
When you look at the budget the Trump administration has produced, it is not responsible or even usable.
Kentucky Congressman John Yarmuth says proposed cuts to education, health care, and welfare programs would be devastating to millions. The White House says the cuts are necessary to rein in spending.
No agency can spend well when they don't live in a resource-constrained world.
Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett says the White House is also sending mixed messages, claiming it wants to improve infrastructure but refusing to spend the money.
I don't see how cutting the transportation budget by 20% is going to get people out of the gridlock that we have all over the country.
Congressional Democrats have come out united against the budget proposal. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is encouraging Americans who depend on entitlement programs like Medicare to speak out.
This budget says promises kept. Balderdash.
For their part, congressional Republicans are embracing the president's plan.
Our nation is nearing a fiscal crisis. I would argue we're already in one.
Republicans agree that we need to remain focused on important goals like the continued rebuilding of our military, keeping up the fight against opioid abuse.
Congress has until the end of September to pass a funding bill for next year. In Washington, I'm Mark Meredith.
More than 30 people, including Hollywood actresses and CEOs, today were charged by the FBI in a nationwide college admissions cheating scam. The 200-page report alleges that those charged paid up to $6 million to get their kids into elite colleges. They include Yale, Stanford, Wake Forest, and USC. And the U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts says this is the largest college admission scam ever prosecuted by the Department of Justice.
We've charged 50 people nationwide with participating in a conspiracy that involved, first, cheating on college entrance exams, meaning the SAT and the ACT, and second, securing admission to elite colleges by bribing coaches at those schools to accept certain students under false pretenses.
The Hollywood actresses are accused include Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. Several chief executives are also among those charged in that scam. And back at home, the United States District Court for the Central District of Illinois now has its first woman chief judge. The Honorable Sarah Darrow took today as the chief judge for James Shadid. Now, Darrow previously served as district judge in Rock Island Division of the Central Illinois District of Illinois since 2011, and that was a position she was nominated to serve by former President Barack Obama at the recommendation of Senator Dick Durbin. All right, when we come back, Chief Meteorologist Chris Shades will let us know what the weather can and we should predict within the next week or so when we come back.
You're watching WMBD News, Central Illinois Proud, with Eugene Daniel and Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates with your local Weather Authority forecast. This is WMBD News at 4.